Hello and welcome to another episode of Pen Rambling. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about my 5 worst and best purchases that I have come so far. So I'm filming this in the year of 2021 in the month of November, and I think you will be seeing this exactly at November somewhere. So in front of you, you can see that I have piled on your left and on your right some collection. Now take a guess, which one is my best, which one is my worst collection? Now if you have guessed that this pile is my worst collection, yes, you are correct. So this one will be my best collection so far. I'm going to move the best one out of the way first, and I will talk about why this pile ended up being my worst purchase ever. Well, who knows, I'm going to do a bad purchase again in the future, but this is what my worst purchase so far. Now, number one, when I was just coming back to fountain pen. Now I'm going to bring you again to the pen that started all of this. I started fountain pen at around 9 or 10 years old when I first saw this pen on the window display, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought to myself, what an interesting pen. So I saved up enough. Back then, this pen was not expensive at all. So I saved out some of my money, and then while I had a chance to go to that shop again, I went in and bought the model that was affordable to me, was enough for me to buy a fountain pen. So the shop owner was kind enough and then tell me that this fountain pen is what most kids started. Back then there was no kid version, if I'm not mistaken. And then the shop owner also gifted me a few cartridges back then. So this was the pen that started all, and this I will never say is my worst or my best purchase, as it is the one that started all of it. So when I was coming back to fountain pen again, it was when I was working already, which was about 10 years later after I stopped using fountain pen, because number one, I couldn't find any more cartridge at any normal brick and store stationery, the normal one in Malaysia. So once I couldn't find anymore, and then bottle ink was not my option, since I don't have the knowledge actually to fill in using bottle ink back then. So I stopped for a while. And number two, the paper. If you're a Malaysian, you know that paper is the worst enemy of a fountain pen. The quality of the paper was so bad that every time I write something, it bleeds. So I stopped it. I used ballpoint. Then when I was coming back, I was so excited that I found something that was considerably entry level back then in my working year, and I ordered a box. And you see I still have the box here. That time eBay was starting up, and I could order a box of this preppy, and I still have 2 that's unopened and is disgusting right now. If you can see the yellowing part. And this was the one, preppy can be a very exciting pen to new user. And I ordered a box, and I ordered in the nib size that I thought I would love, but it is, if I'm not mistaken, 0.3. Yeah, 0.3, if I can get it focused. So 0.3 is actually not my favorite nib at it. It is too fine to my liking. I prefer the 0.5. Then I know that Preppy is kind of inexpensive one, so when I was going to any shop that sells Preppy, I bought this color because I love this violet and I like it. And then I stopped using it because I got into more and more of my collection. So this box was actually my worst purchase because I did not even use and I still have it. Even though you know that Preppy will crack and so on, and then you can throw it away if it's cracked until you cannot shut your cap properly. So I did not use Preppy. Now I don't even use Preppy at all, unless of course I'm gifting it to something. I really don't use it at all. So this was my first worst purchase back then, and I thought that I couldn't even get fountain pen at all, forgetting that time go by I might change my mind. My second worst purchase was together with that Preppy from eBay. I was wanting to try this Jinhao, but I'm not excited about the Jinhao that is famous right now. So I got this one, and the problem with this was the grip section is far too slim to my liking. Now I hate this one even more than the Preppy because I know the Preppy nib is quite fine than my liking. At least I have used 8 of it and I used 6 of it, gave 2 away as a reward to my students who were doing well, and then they were so excited to get fountain pen because they want to try the pen. So this one was okay because the grip section is fine to me. But this one, if you have Jinhao, I'm not so sure what model is this. It is far too slim to my liking. So most of the pen here, the other one which I'm going to talk about, is also having the same problem, thus end up in the worst purchase. So I didn't even use more than a month or maybe a few lines of words, and then I clean it and store it away. That's it, end of the world for that pen. And then this was my third worst purchase. Is a noodless. It is a semi-flex, and I forgot, I think it's Conrad. I forgot what's the model of this pen. I don't hate it for a pen that write. Okay, I hate it because the nib is far too stiff, and people who were doing review back then when I watch it, they can write the writing becoming like, you know, when you do the calligraphy thing, they write so fine and so nice that I bought one because of those reviews. But when I try to write it, I noticed that I need to press a lot of pressure in order to get that one, compared to when I use a dip pen. If you haven't seen my dip pen collection, the one and only dip pen collection, you can go and watch it, which I might link it above. Okay, so this one, I don't hate it because it writes. I hate it because I need to use a pressure in order to use it as a semi-flex pen. I know that it requires some pressure, but I didn't even know that it requires more than I anticipated. So this one was one of the worst purchase, and back then flex pen or flex fountain pen was not one of those where you can find, and this was the closest that I can afford back then. Alright, that will be number 3. And then number 4, actually this comes first before my noodles, so I'm going to talk about this one. This one, I love the tip. It is the smoothest steel nib pen that I own, and this was the more expensive end compared to all the one that I had, and I love using this. But what I hate was because Malaysia is hot and humid, it had a reaction to that grip section here and on the cap. But it's not the worst thing. It is because of this barrel. It's so heavy that I cannot even write one page, okay, without like putting it down, rest my hand again, and then use it back again. I never even used one full cartridge and a converter until finish for this pen. Never at all. So this was far too heavy, and I thought to myself, if this is so heavy, why don't I try, if I can find it, the carbon fiber one, which should be lighter. Yes, it is. That's why it's not in my worst collection. So it was far better because it was lighter. At least I got to use all the ink in that converter for this one. So I never want to use it again because it was so heavy. I mean, I'm not the one who like back heavy pen. I don't mind if it's a middle so that you don't feel so much. This is very back heavy. Now you cannot find this one anymore in the market because Faber-Castell has already changed this pen become the aluminium grip section, not the rubber grip section, which is now called, pardon my neighbor, which is now called Essential Aluminium or Essential. There's a lot of version of it, but it's the Essential line. So this is the part that I hate and one of my worst purchase. If back then I had tried this pen, which I don't have access to, I would not have bought this one. I would have bought my this one will be the carbon fiber one. And last of my 5, alright, my neighbor is having fireworks right now. The last one that is in my worst collection is this one. I think it's called tank something, but it is because it is no cartridge. You just fill it in here and then use it like, what do you call that thing? Eyedropper. It is an eyedropper pen. Now I love because it has big capacity. I bought it so that I can mark the exam paper and I don't have to fill in the ink all the time. If you have a smaller capacity ink, you have to fill in all the time. I mean all the time means before I can finish marking one class, I need to fill in again. So what I thought was good for me, but in the end it was because of it was the mistake that I made when I bought this one and I did not learn my mistake. Okay, because the grip section is far too slim to my liking. Okay, it's far too slim. I don't like slim grip section. That's one thing for me. If it's too slim, I don't want to use it because it doesn't feel comfortable at all. So it is a nice pen. I might use it once in a while, but I will not use it for my long writing session because it is actually a fabulous pen to use for long writing session, and it has the eyedropper ink capacity. So that one is, those are the 5 worst. They're not a bad pen, just that it doesn't suit me at all. So those are my 5 worst purchase. Now my 5 best, because there's only 5 that I can put in. I would have put in more if it's not 5. Okay, now in contrast to the height of the weight of this pen, I know this is heavy, but then again, because the heft is almost throughout the pen and it is not back heavy, okay, it is not back heavy, that's why this one is in my best purchase. Again, I love Faber-Castell nib because it is very smooth. Smooth as you are writing on a matte surface glass, not the glassy type of surface. A matte surface where you still can feel the the interaction between your pen, the nib of your pen, with the paper. Not so smooth as it's buttery smooth but not glassy smooth. I need that interaction. When you write, I prefer to have interaction between me, the pen, and the paper. I don't want it to feel like I'm typing. Might as well go and use my computer to type. So this is one of my best, and it is in the color that I always pair this one with my Pilot Yamabudo, because I don't know, I feel like this pen is for a Pilot Yamabudo. Next one, I also love my demonstrator pen, which you will see this one here. Okay, now this one is one of my best purchase because one, it has this grip section that is not the same as Lamy. Now Lamy I sold off, Lamy All Star I think. I sold it because the grip section is not the way that I like. Now if you notice that one, because the grip section is quite grippy, no, quite enough for me to grip, that's why I love this pen. Now the same thing is because this one, number one, the grip section is nice. Number two, because it is affordable. But number three, because I like the way this holds compared to this. I know that this is a cartridge. I use cartridge most of the time because you cannot eyedrop it because there's a hole at the back of the pen. But I prefer this one because both of them have the same nib, exactly same. I even switched this one to here so that I can mark. I want to feel more comfortable, but it didn't work. So this one was far more comfortable for me and I like it, and I did not even regret it. I even purchased a Kaweco clip to go with it so that I can bring it everywhere. Plus, if I lost it, I will still buy another one. I got two of this. One is in demonstrator. When I saw the demonstrator one, yes, that's it. I'm gonna get one. Okay, the next one is, some of you may like it, some of you may hate it. Is the Twisby, but this one is in Eco T. The same reason as Pilot Kakuno. They have some sort of grip section. It is not very obvious, and the grip section for this one is not so obvious compared to Lamy. As I said, I'm not so sure because of the grip section, I don't feel like comfortable holding that pen. I'm not so sure why. I try to give it, I write with it, I change the nib, I bought in broad, which later on I changed to extra fine. I tried to write with it, I still cannot get over that feeling of not being comfortable with my pen. Just like as if that pen is so far apart from me that we don't get along. That's it. Now this one is in Eco T. I also have the one that is Eco, the normal one, which is the rounded grip section. I like this one, number one, because the nib that I got was wet and juicy. That's one. Number two was because of the grip section that I got this one. It is helping me to write as well as to grip properly. And then it was in a back then it was being in a limited lime color edition, and it's just demonstrator. I know there are people who prefer demonstrator old way, but somehow I like this because there is part of it is solid, there is part of it that is transparent, kind of like mixing it up, but for me it works, but for some people it may not work at all. And then These two came about the same time. Both of them, I love it as a gold nib pen. Number one, people who own Platinum 3776 know that the stiff nib of Platinum 3776, they know it. But in that stiffness of this 14 karat gold nib, I like it because it is fine enough for me to write, but it is not so that it scratches the paper. Almost like why the of the reason that I love my what's this already? This is Loom, Faber-Castell Loom. I think I have Intel, yeah. And I did modify it a little bit by opening the tine, the width of the tine, the what do you call that thing? The tine of this. I did open it up a little bit, and it works very fabulous. And when it came, I bought this from an overseas seller. When it came, I did not have to do anything at all, and it write very, very smooth. I think you cannot see because it's overexposed already. Okay, and the same thing is with this one. Now I love the grip section. I love how it sits and rests on my hand, and then this grip section, because it does flare out a little bit at the end, just like this one is more flared, and I'm not so sure how to discuss this one. Okay, so and then even though this is medium and this is medium as well, the medium on this is more of the medium in the European country. Okay, so it is a bit thicker, but I like the way it writes. I like the color that I bought, although I wish I would have collected one more. Okay, and then I just love it. That's it. And I did not ink this one because I want to discipline myself not to ink too much pen at the same time, because I have already 1, 2, and then a few that is already inked up here. Now I did want to do some honorable mention, which is the one in my collection, my new one in my collection, as well as another one. This one is a birthday gift, and I love it because it's small, it's my color, and the what do you call that, this, the pattern, the inscription on that nib is so nice. That one was the nicest one, the most in my collection, but I did not purchase that one, so that's why I did not include this pen, or I would have included this one and kick one of it out, but I don't know. So this one, honorable mention. I just got this one and I love it because of but it's still new, so I won't put that in, but I will mention it. So these, I'm gonna bring back my pen, are my best purchase because I can feel I'm connected and it is made for me. Whereas for this one, it didn't work the way that I wish it would have worked, so it is not in my best collection. It is in my worst, since I really, this pen, all this one is really rarely inked up right now, and you will have known because I seldom feature them in my collection video all throughout. So how about you? What is Let me know in your comment section what is your worst one, just one, or if you want 5, yes you can. One of your worst purchase and a few maybe of your best purchase on pen up to your current collection. Okay, so that's all for my rambling. So I ramble a lot, quite a lot this week in this episode, and that's all for my episode for this week. I'll see you again in my next episode. Until then, take care and bye bye.